Welcome to our deep dive. I am your host, and today, I want you to imagine stepping into a perfectly pristine hotel room.
Oh, hello, everyone. And yes, that is the absolute best feeling.
Right. You just open the door, the air is cool, the carpets are, completely spotless, and the bed looks like it belongs in a high-end architectural magazine.
It really does. It is a very specific, carefully curated feeling.
It feels almost like magic, like the room just naturally exists in this permanent state of serene perfection.
Absolutely. We naturally gravitate toward environments that feel completely orderly and well untouched, especially when we are traveling or just, seeking a sense of escape from our chaotic daily lives.
It feels entirely effortless when you are the guest experiencing it. But today, we are going to pull back the curtain.
I'm excited for this one.
Me too! We are going to look at the rigorous, highly choreographed science that makes that magical feeling possible. The topic today centers around a truly fascinating document. We are exploring the TESDA NC2 Housekeeping Assessment Reviewer.
Right. And for those who might not be familiar with that framework, TESDA stands for the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority.
That is the national government agency in the Philippines, right?
Exactly. They are responsible for managing and certifying vocational training. And the NC Second, which means National Certificate Level 2, is the official, absolute standard for candidates proving their competency in professional housekeeping.
So this is not just basic chores.
Oh, no. Earning this certificate is not about checking off a list of basic household chores at all. It is a grueling, highly demanding evaluation of technical skill, safety protocols, and, frankly, endurance.
That brings us to our mission for this deep dive. We want to extract the critical sequences from that reviewer, analyze the zero-tolerance safety rules, and uncover the surprising psychology behind genuine five-star service.
We want to show you exactly what it takes to pass this evaluation, because the assessors watching these candidates, they're grading everything.
Professional appearance, communication skills.
Yes, and above all, their absolute adherence to correct procedure sequences.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let us put ourselves in the mindset of a candidate on assessment day.
Just picture it. Your heart is pounding.
The assessor has their clipboard ready, and before you can even think about touching a bed or, picking up a broom, you have to master the art of simply entering the room.
You really do. You have to establish your plan of attack.
Because the assessment literally begins before you cross the threshold, right? You cannot just use your key card and walk in.
No, absolutely not. There's a strict knock and announce sequence that must be executed flawlessly.
Flawlessly? How does that start?
Well, you step up to the door and you knock exactly 3 times.
3 times.
Yes. Then you announce your department with a clear projecting voice saying, housekeeping.
Okay, so you announce yourself, and then what?
And then you have to stand there and wait a full 5 to 10 seconds.
Wow. 5 to 10 seconds sounds quick on paper, but when you are standing in a quiet hallway waiting for an answer, it can feel like an eternity.
It really can. But it is a deliberate pause. You have to respect the guest's privacy and give them ample time to respond.
Like if they are waking up or walking out of the bathroom.
Exactly. And if there's no answer after that long pause, you knock again.
Right.
You slowly open the door and you announce yourself one more time before fully entering the space. You never, ever assume a room is empty just because it is quiet.
That makes sense. But what if a candidate rushes it?
Bypassing that wait time or skipping the announcement is one of the most frequent ways candidates fail the assessment right out of the gate.
It reminds me of a complex surgical procedure.
Oh, that is a great comparison.
Right, because if a surgeon decides to execute step 5 before finishing step 4, the entire operation is compromised. Every single movement in that hotel room has to be mapped out.
Down to the exact direction you move.
Yes,
Yeah.
because once you're safely inside, the reviewer dictates that you must work in a clockwise direction around the room.
And there's a heavily enforced rule here, too.
Right, you must clean from top to bottom. And the floors are strictly, unequivocally cleaned last.
Always last.
So why is this top to bottom floors last rule so absolute that getting it out of order triggers an automatic deduction?
What's fascinating here is that the foundation of this rule is just the basic physics of gravity.
Gravity.
Yes. When you dust the ceiling corners, the curtain rods, or the upper shelves, the displaced dirt naturally falls downward.
Oh, of course.
So if you break the sequence, Let us say you mop the floor first because it looks particularly dirty,
Right.
and then you reach up to dust the ceiling vents. Well, you are directly dropping debris onto the wet, clean floor below.
So you're actively ruining your own hard work.
You are. And in the terminology of the hospitality industry, that error is called double handling.
Double handling, meaning you handle the same task twice.
Exactly. It requires you to clean the exact same surface twice, which wastes valuable time and energy. Assessors are watching to see if you understand how to navigate a physical space with absolute unyielding efficiency.
They need to know you are working smart, not just working hard.
Right. This reliance on personal accountability is also why candidates are required to perform a final, comprehensive inspection before marking the room as ready.
You must rigorously verify your own sequence.
Yes. So the dust has settled literally, and you have worked your way down to the floor.
Right in the middle of all this careful sequencing sits the largest, most heavily scrutinized object in the room, the bed.
Oh, the bed.
It is the visual centerpiece. And frankly, the easiest place for an eagle-eyed assessor to spot a flaw from across the room.
The bed dictates the entire aesthetic of the room. The TESDA reviewer outlines 2 distinct styles of bed making that candidates must master inside and out.
And those are the duvet setup and the traditional setup.
Yes. And candidates must understand the structural differences because assessors will test their knowledge during the oral questioning phase.
Let us start with the duvet setup, since it feels, a bit more common in modern hotels.
Sure.
The reviewer draws a very sharp distinction between a duvet and a standard comforter.
Right. A comforter is just a single, unified, quilted piece of bedding.
Like what most people have at home.
Exactly. A duvet, however, consists of an insert, which is the heavy filler, and a separate removable cover. It functions exactly like a large pillow inside a pillowcase.
And when you are building the bed with a duvet, the folding technique is very specific to ensure the presentation looks flawless.
It is. When you reach the top of the bed, you fold the flat top sheet and the duvet down together at the exact same time.
Wait, together?
Yes, as one unit. By folding them as one unit, you reveal the decorative inside pattern of the duvet cover seamlessly.
Ah, I see. What happens if you do them separately?
If you attempt to fold the sheet first and the duvet second, the edges will misalign, and it will look deeply uneven under the assessor's inspection.
That makes total sense.
After that is smooth, you place the sleeping pillows perfectly upright at the headboard and finish with a karate chop right down the center of each pillow.
The famous hotel pillow chop.
That is the one. It creates that inviting, plumped appearance.
It is somehow validating to know that is an official, documented technique.
It really is.
But then we pivot to the traditional setup. This sounds like an incredibly intense, multi-layered architectural project.
It is very involved.
You are managing a bed pad, a flat sheet, a second sheet, a blanket, a top sheet, and finally a bed cover.
It is the classic heavy hotel bed. And the precise measurements involved are where candidates truly feel the pressure. First, you have to execute 45-degree folds on the flat sheet.
What we commonly call hospital corners.
Yes. But the critical detail that catches many candidates off guard is that you must create those 45-degree folds on all 4 corners of the bed.
All 4?
All 4. Many people casually making a bed will only tuck the 2 corners at the foot of the mattress and leave the top draped.
Right. That is what I do at home.
In an assessment, doing that results in a severe point deduction.
Wow.
Furthermore, the top sheet and the blanket must be pulled up and positioned exactly 9 inches away from the edge of the headboard.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go ahead.
For anyone listening who just throws a quilt over their mattress at home, are assessors genuinely standing there expecting a candidate to eyeball exactly 9 inches?
They absolutely are.
Do they seriously penalize you if 1 out of the 4 corners is sitting at, say, 40 degrees instead of 45?
They absolutely hold you to that exact standard. That 9-inch gap from the headboard is a formalized measurement, not a casual suggestion.
That is wild.
Candidates spend hours in training practicing how to visually gauge that exact distance. They do that so they do not have to hesitate, measure, or guess during their practical demonstration.
That level of scrutiny is intense.
It is, but the underlying reason goes back to efficiency and technique. The assessors are looking for structural neatness.
Because every layer matters.
Exactly. If a candidate does not pull every single underlying sheet and blanket completely drum-tight during the process, a hidden wrinkle or a loose pocket of fabric will inevitably telegraph through the final top cover.
And that ruins the smooth finish.
Right. The ability to hit that 9-inch gap and fold perfect 45-degree corners proves to the assessor that the candidate possesses the refined technique to produce a flawless result consistently, without having to redo their work.
You are essentially engineering a fabric sculpture.
That is a great way to put it.
But that requirement for visual perfection takes a completely different turn when we step across the threshold into the bathroom. The stakes change from aesthetic presentation to managing high-risk environments.
Yes, the focus shifts entirely to rigorous sanitation and physical safety. In the TESDA NC2 assessment, failing a sanitation standard in the bathroom is not just a point deduction. It is often a direct pass-or-fail scenario.
The cleaning sequence in the bathroom is just as strict as the clockwise rule in the bedroom, but the focus is on containing invisible threats rather than visible dust.
Right. The very first step before you apply a single drop of chemical or wipe a mirror is ventilation.
Ventilation first.
Yes. You put on your protective rubber gloves, turn on the lights, switch on the exhaust fan, or prop open a window. Then you apply your heavy-duty toilet disinfectant and close the lid.
You just leave it.
You let that chemical sit and do the hard work of breaking down bacteria while you move on to the rest of the sequence.
And you must follow a very specific path. Ceiling, lavatory, bathtub, toilet, floor.
Yes, you are systematically moving from the cleanest areas of the bathroom down to the most heavily contaminated areas.
That makes a lot of sense.
You clear the ceiling of cobwebs, sanitize the lavatory basin and mirror, scrub the bathtub and shower, return to finish the toilet bowl, and finally mop the floor.
To make sure you are not dragging bacteria from the dirtiest areas back to the pristine sink, the industry relies on a brilliant color coding system for the cleaning cloths.
It is brilliant.
You are essentially color coding the risk levels, creating a visual fail-safe so you do not even have to rely on memory in a high-stress moment.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this entire methodology, the ceiling-to-floor sequence and the strict color-coded cloths, is specifically designed to prevent cross-contamination.
How are the colors broken down?
Well, red cloths are exclusively for toilets and urinals. Blue cloths handle general surfaces like glass and mirrors.
Okay, red and blue.
Green is reserved strictly for food preparation areas, and yellow is for general washroom zones.
So what happens if you mix them up?
If an assessor watches you use a blue cloth to wipe down a toilet seat, or if you reverse your sequence and wipe the vanity basin after scrubbing the floor tiles, you have entirely compromised the sanitation of the space.
That is an instant failure.
Any lingering stain, foul odor, or even an expired shampoo bottle left behind is treated as a systemic failure.
Because it proves the fail-safes were ignored.
Exactly.
We are dealing with microscopic risks in the bathroom, but out in the hallways, candidates have to manage massive physical risks.
Like the floor polisher.
Yes, the floor polisher is a heavy, powerful piece of industrial equipment.
It is remarkably heavy, very loud, and operating it requires nuanced skill.
Here's where it gets really interesting. You do not just muscle a heavy floor polisher around the room by shoving it forward and backward.
No, you cannot force it.
Operating one is a lot like riding a mechanical bull or trying to lead a very heavy dance partner. You have to steer it entirely by tilting the handle up and down.
That is a highly accurate comparison. It relies on balance and technique rather than brute upper body strength.
So how do you actually steer it?
To swing the spinning machine to the right, you gently tilt the handle down. To swing it back to the left, you lift the handle up. You guide it in slow, overlapping semicircles to ensure an even polish.
And under no circumstances can you walk away from it while it is turned on.
The reviewer explicitly warns that a running floor polisher left unattended can catch traction and essentially walk on its own across a hallway.
Wow, just take off on its own.
Yes, causing severe impact damage to walls, expensive baseboards, or even injuring someone.
Which perfectly transitions into the safety non-negotiables. These are the hard lines that will fail a candidate instantly, regardless of how fast they clean or how sharp their hospital corners look.
Assessors maintain zero tolerance for safety violations. You never mix different cleaning chemicals together, as that can instantly generate invisible, highly toxic fumes.
Never mix chemicals, got it.
You never operate a heavy vacuum or a floor polisher if you notice the electrical cord is frayed.
That is a huge electrical hazard.
Right. And when you are mopping a public hallway, you are required to post bright what floor warning signs on both ends of the hallway.
Both ends.
Yes, anticipating that a guest could unknowingly approach the wet zone from either direction.
The reviewer even mandates that candidates familiarizing themselves with these rules must understand Republic Act 11058.
That is the Occupational Safety and Health Standards Act in the Philippines.
So it is the law.
Exactly. Requiring candidates to know that specific law ensures they understand that workplace safety is not just an arbitrary hotel policy they can bend. It is a strict legal obligation designed to protect workers and guests alike.
All of this rigorous physical labor, the heavy machinery, the chemical management, it is all happening behind the scenes to serve the actual guest.
Right.
And interacting with the guest's world requires a totally different touch. The reviewer moves from the physical environment to the art of guest services, starting with handling delicate personal items like laundry.
This tests a candidate's careful attention to detail. Before an iron ever touches a garment, you must locate and read the fabric care label to prevent heat damage.
Always check the label.
Then, you iron the collars and cuffs first, because they hold the structure of the shirt and are the most visible under a jacket.
That makes sense.
But the physical direction in which you move the iron across the body of the shirt is also regulated.
You are required to iron in a counterclockwise motion, which initially sounds overly controlling until you realize it has to do with the grain of the fabric.
Ironing counterclockwise helps ensure that the woven fabric does not get warped or stretched out of its natural shape over time. It preserves the integrity of the guest's clothing.
And my absolute favorite detail regarding the laundry service, when you finish ironing that long sleeve shirt and place it on a hanger, you do not just button the top button.
No, you do not.
You specifically close buttons number 1, 3, 5, and 7.
Yes. Fastening those alternating buttons keeps the entire front of the shirt from gaping open on the hanger, ensuring it stays perfectly crisp until the guest puts it on.
It is that exacting level of care that elevates basic cleaning into professional hospitality. We see that same protective mindset applied to the shoe cleaning service as well.
We do. When a candidate collects a pair of shoes to clean, the mandatory first step is to thoroughly inspect them for any pre-existing damage.
You must carefully document any existing scuffs, scratches, or worn soles before you begin.
Exactly. This protects both you and the hotel from disputed liability later on. You do not want to be accused of damaging a luxury item that was already compromised.
And you must accurately identify the materials. If a guest hands you a pair of suede or canvas shoes, you never apply traditional shoe polish.
Never. You must use a specialized dry brush. Applying wet polish to suede will permanently ruin the texture.
This knowledge of materials naturally leads into the most interactive face-to-face portion of the assessment, the butler service role play.
Right. Candidates must demonstrate their customer service sequence out loud while interacting with an assessor, playing the role of a guest.
The required script is not just polite conversation. It follows a psychological loop. Greet, ask permission, explain the service, confirm understanding.
Rather than just listing those steps, consider how this looks in practice. A professional butler never crosses the threshold of a room without offering a warm greeting and explicitly asking permission to enter.
They never reach for a piece of luggage or open a wardrobe without asking first.
Never. Then, they explain what they are doing and check to ensure the guest is comfortable with it. It is a continuous, verbal loop of establishing and respecting the guest's personal boundaries in an unfamiliar space.
Part of establishing that comfort involves orienting the guest to the room's features. The candidate has to recite the standard telephone extension codes seamlessly.
Yes, dial 0 for the operator, 1 for housekeeping, 2 for laundry, and 3 for room service.
Memorizing those extensions is important for convenience, but during that room orientation, there is one piece of information that is a critical life safety requirement.
It is the most important part of the orientation.
Pointing out the fire exit.
Yes. The candidate must direct the guest's attention to the fire evacuation map, usually located on the back of the entry door. Treat it not as an optional pleasantry, but as a mandatory safety briefing.
You can memorize all the ironing techniques, the color-coded cloths, and the telephone extensions in the world, but the real test of a professional happens when the ideal script falls apart.
Because things will go wrong.
Right. The assessors use situational judgment questions to evaluate how candidates react when things inevitably go wrong under pressure.
They want to analyze your immediate decision-making process when faced with an unexpected crisis.
Let us run through a few of these, because human instinct can be tricky.
Let us hear them.
If I am taking the assessment and I accidentally scorch a guest's expensive suit with a hot iron, my panic instinct is to try to brush it out, hide it, or maybe offer to fix it myself before anyone notices.
Acting on that instinct will result in a failure.
A total failure.
Yes. You must immediately stop, apologize to the guest if they're present, completely own the mistake without making defensive excuses, and immediately escalate the issue to his supervisor, who has the authority to arrange proper compensation.
Okay, what if I am vacuuming the room, I am trying to move fast, and I notice the electrical cord is heavily frayed near the plug? My instinct is to just carefully hold the cord below the frayed part and finish the last rug so I do not fail the time limit.
That instinct is exactly what the assessors are hunting for, and doing that proves you are a liability.
Oh, wow. So what should you do?
You must stop the machine, unplug it safely from the wall, tag the equipment as defective, and report it to engineering. You never gamble with damaged equipment.
What if a guest angrily approaches me in the hallway and demands a rush cleaning on a pair of suede shoes because they have a meeting in 10 minutes? I want to provide good service, so maybe I try to use a damp cloth to clean them faster.
Providing good service means protecting the guest's property.
Okay, so you say no to the guest.
You must politely but firmly explain the correct dry brush method for suede, educating the guest that using water or polish to speed up the process will permanently ruin their shoes. You must prioritize the correct method over their impatience.
Here is the most stressful scenario. I am under a tight time limit. I am halfway through making that complex, multi-layered, traditional bed.
The one with all the 45-degree corners?
Right. I am pulling the sheets drum tight, and I suddenly notice a large, unidentifiable stain on the mattress pad underneath. My immediate instinct is to just pull the clean, flat sheet over it and keep going, so I do not fail for running out of time.
Again, that is a test of your integrity versus your speed. You must stop the bed-making process entirely and report the stained mattress pad to your supervisor before proceeding.
So, what does this all mean? When we look at how these scenarios are structured, the assessment is not just testing your speed, it is essentially testing your honesty.
Yes.
They want to see if you are willing to compromise your standards just to stay on schedule.
This raises an important question about the true definition of a professional in this industry. Assessors are universally looking for a specific behavior pattern.
Which is?
Stop, report, follow procedure. If you choose to rush past a glaring safety hazard or actively cover up a sanitation issue just so you can technically finish the task on time, the assessors view that as a massive integrity failure.
Covering up the problem is considered far worse than the original mistake.
Exactly,
Right.
because the consequences of a cover-up are severe. If you hide a stained mattress pad, the guest is eventually going to discover it, which ruins the hotel's reputation.
Right.
If you ignore a frayed vacuum cord because it is inconvenient, the next housekeeper who uses it could be severely electrocuted. Professionalism in this context is entirely about maintaining transparency and safety, especially when no one is watching and it is highly inconvenient.
The technical skills, the 45-degree folds, the counterclockwise ironing, those are absolutely necessary baseline tools. But the personal integrity to execute the job correctly under pressure is what ultimately qualifies someone to hold that certificate.
I could not agree more.
To distill this entire deep dive down, professional housekeeping, as defined by the TESDA NC2 standard, is clearly not about simply checking off a list of daily chores.
Not at all.
It is an intricate, highly demanding physical discipline. It requires mastering complex sequences, maintaining unwavering situational awareness, and exercising uncompromising integrity.
It is about engineering an environment of absolute safety, sanitation, and comfort through incredibly deliberate, practiced actions.
And there is immense practical value in knowing these principles, even if you never intend to take a professional housekeeping assessment.
Definitely. You can use these methods at home.
You can take this codified knowledge and apply it to the environments you control. You can utilize that top-to-bottom sequencing to clean your own home far more efficiently, without double-handling your work.
You can implement a color coding system for your sponges to ensure your kitchen remains sanitary.
You can even take that methodical stop-and-report pacing to manage the chaotic, high-pressure tasks in your professional life.
Once you understand the specific why behind these rigid methods, you can apply that same structural efficiency to whatever environment or task you are currently managing.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to mull over. The next time you walk into a pristine hotel room or step into any beautifully maintained, serene space, take a moment to really look around at the detail.
Really look at them.
Every single folded towel, every perfectly measured 9-inch gap on the bedspread and every properly aligned amenity on the bathroom counter is not a natural accident. It is the direct result of a highly practiced, entirely invisible choreography.
It truly is an art form.
What if we approached the routine, everyday maintenance of our own lives, not as a frustrating burden we have to rush through, but as a deliberate art form worthy of this exact level of mastery?